5-star caller.
The following presentation is a YouTube production.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Hey, good morning. It's Uncle Lou here. Hey, good morning. Live for you on YouTube today. Hey, good morning. It's Uncle Lou here. Hey, good morning. It's Uncle Lou here. Yeah, that's right. It's me, Uncle Lou. Live. Yeah, thanks for watching. Of your games, so talking about we didn't need you and we didn't want you. I stood up for you. Now you, oh Uncle Lou, look at this vein in my neck, sir. Mark Fox, pack your stuff and get out of Athens. That's it. It's not working out. 9 years is long enough. This so-called experiment, whatever it is, you got these people in Athens tricked into thinking you're a good basketball coach. No, that's it. I've had it. Everybody else has had it. It's time for you to pack your stuff and go, sir. This is getting absolutely ridiculous now. Ridiculous. What are we? We're 1-6 in the last 7 games. We've won 1 game since January 20th. Congratulations. A miracle win over Florida. Oh my God! Hey, Voltard! Spend another offseason talking about that Hail Mary! Whee! Woo! How about him dogs, son? Hey, listen, just like Uncle Lou told you, Georgia too much for the Florida Gators this year. You guys just don't have the Jimmies, or the Joes to keep up with my Georgia Bulldogs. Tell me, if you can read this with a straight face and not laugh. What? Win the East? Hey, okay, look, now, Mustang, listen, Uncle Lou, listen to Uncle Lou. Hold on a second. Lou, you have a watermelon head.
hold on a second. No, I'm not holding on a second, sir. You've had since last Thursday to figure out what you wanted to say when you called up today, and the best thing you can think of to do is to call up and stutter and drool all over yourself by saying the same watermelon head joke 2 times in a row, rustling around a bunch of papers, and then saying, oh, wait a minute, wait, hold on, wait, Lou. Oh, no, Lou, hold on, no, wait, Lou, while I say this same joke again. Now, are you ready now?
I'm ready now. Are you going to listen to me?
Go.
You look like a freaking watermelon.
That's the same joke. That's the 3rd time now we've heard the same one. Do you have something new, or is it going to be the same watermelon joke again?
Call Lou to be on the show. 706-510-6817. That's 706-510-6817. And now, here is your host, Uncle Lou.
Good morning, it's Uncle Lou here. Yeah, that's right, it's me, Uncle Lou, live for you on LouTube today. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it also, and in addition to that as well. Welcome to Uncle Lou Live. We do this show every Monday and Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, runs about an hour. We talk football for a little bit, have guests on at the beginning, and then we spend the last part of the show taking viewer phone calls. Thanks to everybody that's joined already. I see a lot of people in the comment section already. On the list today, we have a Vandy fan. We're going to bring him on in just a second. You guys that have been watching for a while pretty much know the routine by now. We'll talk to him about 2018, get his expectations. We'll run through the schedule, see what it looks like for this year, and get a Vanderbilt fan's perspective on where they're at in the SEC in particular, and the SEC East too. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. Watch Uncle Lou every day like you're supposed to. It'll make you smarter and lower your cholesterol too, which I have a pretty good feeling a lot of you could benefit from a lower cholesterol. Just a hunch that I have. I could be wrong, but it's not likely. We have another live show we do every Tuesday and Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern that's totally different from this show, so make sure you check that one out too. And today is the last day to get in on the t-shirt giveaway. If you don't know how that works, every $1 that you donate during a live stream gets you 1 entry into a raffle for the t-shirt giveaway, and we're giving that away tomorrow night on the live stream at 10 p.m. Eastern. So if you haven't entered yet and you want to, just hit the $sign in the in the comment box there on YouTube during the live stream and donate. You get 1 entry into the raffle for every $1 that you donate. All right, let's get right to it. Up today, we have a Vanderbilt fan, like I mentioned, on the line. A lot of you guys that have been around for a while are going to recognize this guy from the comment section. This is Jared. He is a Vanderbilt fan. He's going to tell us everything we need to know about Vanderbilt Commodores football team for 2018. Jared, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good. I really appreciate you coming on. Like I always say, I like to get as many fans from as many different teams on as I can and get sort of a perspective on what each team's fans are kind of thinking and looking at heading into 2018. With that being said, if there's anybody watching who's interested in coming on the Uncle Lou Show to talk to us about your team for 2018, please email me at crazyunclelou@gmail.com, and I'd love to work something out with you where we can have you on the show. But like I mentioned, up today is Vanderbilt. Now, Jared, I'm going to run through pretty much the same routine that I run through with everybody that I have on the show. for these 2018 predictions. Jeremy Pruitt, good morning in the comments section. I got your $2, sir, and I have you down for your 2 entries into the giveaway. Thank you, sir. Jared, before we get started on 2018 and what Vanderbilt might be looking like this coming season, let's wrap up 2017. Take a minute or two and just give us your final thoughts on 2017, how you thought Vanderbilt did, what were your expectations heading into 2017, and how did Vanderbilt live up to those expectations?
See, I believe that we were, like, at the end of 2016, I believe that we were set up for, like, a 7-win season. And after we beat Kansas State, that was really looking high, as we just beat the number ranked 18 team in the nation, and we were looking high after that. And then it all went down the drain as a smart student at Vandy, because we're known for academics, said, "We want Bama in your next." That's probably the worst thing. That's probably.
Yeah, that probably wasn't a very good idea.
Yeah, it really wasn't.
To poke the bear. And you guys had sort of a rough stretch of games. You started off okay. You mentioned a big win over Kansas State, 14-7. But you had kind of a rough stretch. You had to play Georgia and Alabama. I know you played Alabama at home, and you played Georgia at home too. So 2 pretty big home games there for Vanderbilt, and that's a rough stretch. There's not very many teams in America that could compete with Georgia and Alabama in back-to-back weeks like that. So I don't think anybody was that surprised that you lost those 2 games, but did you think that maybe those 2 games would have been a little bit more competitive?
I definitely thought the Alabama game was going to be more competitive. And I believe the Georgia game would have been more competitive with our offense. But, like, if you watch the game, our receivers were just dropping balls on, like, 3rd and, like, 6, like, for first downs. They just drop it. Yeah.
Now the star of your team last year, to an outsider's perspective like me, was Ralph Webb. I mean, this is a guy that's been starting for you guys forever. He's graduated now. He finished in the top 20 all time in terms of yards rushing in the SEC. Probably one of the most productive players that Vanderbilt has ever had. He's a little bit undersized, not sure what sort of chance he might get in the NFL. And you've definitely had some players come through Vanderbilt who have had successful NFL careers, but in terms of just pure production on the college level, it's hard to find somebody at Vanderbilt who had a better career than Ralph Webb.
It is.
Yeah, he was fun to watch. Now, you do get your quarterback back this year, Kyle Shermer, and this is somebody that I talk about a lot when I talk about quarterbacks in the SEC. I think this guy has been in the top half of SEC quarterbacks for the last couple of years. And if you were to make a list of the problems that Vanderbilt has heading into 2018, quarterback is not one of those things that would be on the list. I have to think that Vanderbilt fans are pretty happy with what they're expecting from Shermer this year.
Mhm. I'm expecting Shermer to be able to keep us in a lot of games, keep it close, and be able to pull out a couple wins over teams we shouldn't win. Which that was kind of like the spot he was in last year. Like, our defense just kept giving up points. It was like you were just betting on Shermer could just try to outscore everybody, which is almost not possible in college.
Right. Vanderbilt's defense sort of got taken advantage of last year. Now, what are you expecting for 2018 in terms of improvement on that side of the ball? Do you think Vanderbilt's defense can be a little bit better in 2018 than what we saw last year?
Most definitely. In this past draft class, we got a 4-star middle linebacker, which is what we were lacking. And most of our defensive line is returning, which I think will help with that because we kept getting burned on the run. So I think with a more experienced defensive line and our linebacking core is not really leaving, is going to help. But I think we're going to be more vulnerable to the pass next year because just about everyone left in the secondary.
Right. And what's the plan for replacing Ralph Webb? Are there any guys behind him with much experience, or are we going to see somebody new running the ball at Vanderbilt?
You've seen, like, the last couple of years, you see Kari Blassingham, like, switch drives with Webb. Like, you've seen him be, a more, like, in between the tackles power back, kind of like Chubb, but not as good as Chubb. He should get a lot of rest, but then we also have an Illinois transfer coming in. I believe it's Keyshawn Vaughn. It's spelled Vaughn. I don't know how you'd say that. But he had 2,000-yard rusher in seasons at Illinois, so, and I think Mason has him favored to take the starting role.
Right. Okay, now we're gonna get into the 2018 schedule now, and I have it here, and I'm gonna try to pull it up on the screen. Let's see here.
Whoa, tired, woo!
Okay, there we go. Now, okay, so we're all looking at the Vanderbilt schedule here. Now I see you starting off with 2 non-conference home games against lesser competition, but one's an in-state rival. You get Middle Tennessee and Nevada. What are we looking at in those 2 games?
They both should be wins. MTSU, we've blown them out 2 of the 3 years we've played them. We've won all 3 years we've played them. 2 of them weren't even competitions. The third one was close. It was Mason's first year when we had a terrible quarterback and we still somehow won. But then, like, that sure just progressed. He just kept outscoring, and our defense was better and just would just hold them. But MTSU ain't no pushover.
No, they're not a pushover. They're one of those teams that seems like every once in a while beats a team they're not supposed to beat. One of the bigger teams. Hard for me to pick against Vandy in this game. And of course, I'm an SEC homer. I'll be pulling for Vandy here, but some Eagle Gaming has a good question actually before we get into the rest of the schedule. How is it that Jared became a Vanderbilt fan instead of a Tennessee fan?
Well, first off, I'm not from Tennessee. I'm from Georgia, so most people probably ask why aren't you a Georgia fan then? My dad has been a Vanderbilt fan since he was younger, and he got accepted into Vanderbilt when he was in high school, but didn't have the money to go to it. And he's had season tickets for, I think, 22 years now, so just kind of continued to the family, and I kind of just followed it. I've been to a lot of games, had a lot of fun at games. Just kind of been a Vanderbilt fan since like my entire life. Yeah,
and I think that's probably a pretty common story for a lot of fans. You know, a lot of people grow up rooting for the team that their dad rooted for, so that seems like a reasonable explanation to me. Okay, Nevada. We're just gonna skip over that. There's no reason. I mean, let's be real.
1-11 last season.
Yeah, if you lose to Nevada, then there's no point in even talking about the rest of your schedule. If you don't beat Nevada, you're not winning any of the other games on your schedule. So we're just gonna skip over that one. Assume it's a win. That puts you at 2-0. Now, what is this here? Now, monkey see, monkey do. You play at Notre Dame here, week 3.
I don't expect us to win this game. It all depends on how our defense will play. Like, if we can stop Notre Dame's rush game, I think we have a chance. But if we can't, it might be a blowout.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I have a hard time seeing a Vanderbilt win in this game right now. Now, of course, this is week 3, and, you know, who knows what happens the first 2 weeks of the year. Lots of things can change between now and then. But looking at this right now, that's definitely a game where I think Vanderbilt's going to be a pretty big underdog. And shout out to Notre Dame and to the SEC. This is 2 years in a row now Notre Dame has scheduled a home game with an SEC team. Now, with Georgia, it was a home and home. They're coming to play us at home in Athens in 2019. Do you know, is this a home and home with Vanderbilt too?
I do not know.
It should be. I would hope that Vanderbilt wouldn't be giving away home games like this. So I would expect that Notre Dame is going to be playing at Vanderbilt in 2020. If I find out otherwise, then I'm going to be extremely disappointed in the lack of balls that Vanderbilt displays here by agreeing to go on the road to Notre Dame without demanding a home game in return. But that'll be a screaming video for another day. Now your SEC schedule starts here. You get a home game with South Carolina. Now, to me, this is one of the biggest games on your schedule. And the reason I feel that way is I'm pretty high on South Carolina heading into next year. A lot of people are. They're most likely going to be picked by the majority of media to finish second in the East, I think. If Vanderbilt somehow comes away with a win here over South Carolina, then that could really, I think, propel them to a pretty good year in 2018. How do you see this game shaking out?
I think it would be a very competitive and close game like it was this past year. I was at the South Carolina game this past year. And this is not even related to the schedule, though, but they are some of the worst fans to be around in the middle of a game.
You're preaching to the choir, bro. You're singing my tune right now. I completely agree with you there.
As we failed the last fourth down in the game and it was over, we got yelled out of the stadium. The 100 Vanderbilt fans that are there, we were getting booed out of the stadium.
Yeah, I haven't been to a ton of away games, but one of the places I have been to a game is Williams-Brice Stadium, and I wasn't impressed with the facilities. I wasn't impressed with the scenery. I can tell you that right now. The scenery is rough in Columbia. But anyway, let's not turn this into a bash South Carolina thing. I could spend 4 or 5 hours doing that, and I don't mind doing it. But this isn't really the time or the place. Yeah. So I'm probably leaning right now South Carolina in that game. I think it helps you that you have it at home a little bit. Not. I'll be honest. I really don't think Vanderbilt has that much of a home field advantage. I mean, most SEC teams are used to playing in front of 70, 80, 90,000 people on a road game. You don't necessarily get that at Vanderbilt, but I do think it's an advantage in that you don't have to play at South Carolina, which is one of the bigger home field advantages in the SEC, in my opinion. I'm probably leaning Carolina there, but I do think it's a game that I would give you more of a chance against South Carolina than I would at Notre Dame, but we'll see. And then you finish up with your last, or not finish up, but you follow that up with a home game, your last non-con game of the year, Tennessee State, your second lower class in-state team that you're playing. Again, no reason you shouldn't win this game, right?
No, not at all. We should win it.
Yeah.
They're a Division II school. If you lose, that's embarrassing.
Yeah. Now you go back on the road at Georgia.
And that's just a loss. There's no hope in that. Unless there's a miracle from 2016. Otherwise, no.
Yeah, any chance this is Georgia's homecoming game?
I do not know.
I hope so, but I to be honest, I don't remember which game our homecoming. I don't think it's this one. It's usually later in the year, but I could be wrong. All right, then you get
the third year in a row we play on homecoming weeks.
Yeah, now you get Florida. You get Florida back at home now. A lot of changes at Florida. New coaching staff. Don't know who's going to be the quarterback. Not sure what type of offense they're going to run because that's sort of going to depend on which quarterback they decide to go with. If they decide to go with one of the experienced pocket passer type QBs, or if they decide to throw the freshman Emory Jones into the fire, who likes to run around. So hard to gauge where Florida's going to be, but what kind of chance do you give Vanderbilt in this game at home against the Gators?
I personally think this is going to be one of the better games we have a chance of winning. I think Vandy, depending on how Florida starts the season, may be favored to win. We played at Florida last year, which is not an easy place to win. This is definitely a different environment, and I just think we'll have a better chance against them. I don't think they're going to have the quite talent that they've had in the past couple of years to, be able to match Georgia for the East, like a lot of Florida fans are saying. But I do think Vandy could actually pull this one out.
And what's that new Florida coach's name?
Mullen, I think.
Yep, Mullen, Dan Mullen. Yeah. And where's he from? He's what is he?
I think he's from Mississippi State, right?
Yeah, but before that, where was he at?
I don't know.
I think he was from Florida.
He's a Florida man, Lou!
Yeah, I think he was offensive coordinator. He's a Florida man. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a Florida man. Anyway, So that takes us through the first half of your schedule. Now you get a couple of road games coming up here leading into your bye week at Kentucky and at Arkansas. Now I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. Vanderbilt needs to win both of these games. These two games right here could be the difference between Vanderbilt making a bowl game and Vanderbilt not making a bowl game. At Kentucky, I think you should win that game. At Arkansas, I think you're probably a better team than Arkansas, but I'm a big fan of Chad Morris, but it's hard to turn something around in 1 year. I do think Arkansas is going to get better under Chad Morris. Not sure if it'll happen year one, but you get them 7-8 games into the year, so they, we'll know a lot about Arkansas by this point in the season. But what are you thinking here? Two road games that I think are almost must-wins for Vanderbilt this year.
Kentucky will probably be close. That one might determine who goes to a bowl game between Vandy and Kentucky, who goes to a bowl game. But then Arkansas, I think we should win just because we have a better roster than Arkansas and we have a better team than Arkansas. But it just depends on how they're playing, injuries and all that by the middle of the season.
Yeah. I think Vanderbilt can win both of these games. Anything less than splitting these two games, though, spells disaster for Vanderbilt in 2018. That leads you into a bye week. Get your bye week at a pretty good time here. You play 8 games in a row, then you get a bye, rest some players up here heading into the last third of the season. At Missouri, a dangerous game here. Their offense, I talk about it all the time. Drew Lock is the real deal, a gunslinger. He's probably going to throw for 4,000, 4,500 yards, something like that this year. They're going to put up some points. Their defense is suspect, though. You think Vanderbilt can slow their offense down enough to beat Missouri?
I think our defense may be able to stop them once or twice, but our offense will have to stay moving. Like, we won't be able to stall on drives. We'd have to just keep matching with Missouri in this game. You would have to keep matching drive for drive with Missouri at Vandy, because I don't know if our pass defense will be that good, because last year we shut down Mizzou's passing game, and Drew Lock was like 10 to 25 last year, but the running game killed us.
Yeah, and that's kind of weird.
So I think the run will be irrelevant, but the pass will be stronger, so I think Sherman's just going to have to match Lock drive for drive. Yeah,
I sort of see that game going the same way. I can't imagine Vanderbilt holding Missouri to 10 or 14 points.
Absolutely
I
not.
think Missouri is probably going to put some points up in this game, so I think you're right. I think Vanderbilt's going to have to find a way to sort of win a track meet type game in that one there.
Georgia couldn't even hold Mizzou to 14 points. They scored like 20 on y'all, right?
Yeah. They lit us up in the first half. We shut them down in the second half, but they lit us up in the first half last year for sure. Drew Lock, the real deal. Now you finish up with two road games, or 2 home games. I'm sorry, Ole Miss and Tennessee. We'll start with Ole Miss. They lose the best player on their team, in my opinion, Shea Patterson. He transferred out to Michigan and gets to play right away because of the trouble that Ole Miss is in. Ole Miss has no motivation to play, and on top of that, they're not a very good team, and they have a terrible coaching staff. I think Vanderbilt needs to win this game.
Yeah, I think we win it as well. And I've talked to a lot of Ole Miss fans on Facebook. They say that their quarterback is better than Kyle Shermer. 1, that's not true. 2, he's not going to be that good when people playing for him. He was a backup, and no wonder he wasn't that good. And then when people playing for him, it's going to be like Tua. If people playing for him, he's not going to be as good. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I agree with that principle in general. I need to, by this point in the season, we'll have seen him play 7, 8, 9 games, so we'll know a whole lot more. But in general, I agree with you there. And then you finish up the same way you always do with your in-state rival, Tennessee. Now, this is a series that has flip-flopped over the past 6 years. Tennessee dominated you for a long time, but you have won, I think, 2 in a row in 4 of the last 6 games against Tennessee. So momentum right now is on Vanderbilt's side in this series. Vanderbilt runs the state of Tennessee without question. Right now, Vanderbilt is the better football program and the better football team in the state of Tennessee. Tennessee brings in Jeremy Pruitt, a career assistant with Alabama, Florida State, Georgia, back to Alabama. First-year head coach. There's going to be some bumps in the road. Tennessee is going to have a brutal first half of the season. And Tennessee, I think, is going to be in a position where they need to win almost all of their last 4 games just to make a bowl game. So I think this is going to be a huge game for Tennessee for a lot of reasons. In-state rivalry, you beat them a couple of years in a row, and I think they could legitimately be sitting at 5 wins heading into this game with Vanderbilt.
You listen what the general tell you now.
What are you thinking on this one?
I looked at Tennessee's schedule and I could maybe see win week 1, but after that it just goes completely downhill. You have to play Auburn, Georgia, Alabama, and it's just you just have 6 losses in a row.
Right.
And I don't know if there's going to be any motivation after that to win. You'll probably win the rest of your non-conference games. I'm pretty sure they're going to lose to West Virginia just because they're a much better team talent-wise and coaching-wise. And Tennessee fans like to brag that they have Jeremy Pruitt's going to turn this program around in 1 year. I don't think so at all. You have to remember that he's been on winning teams every year. How is he going to react when you start 2-7?
You listen what the general tell you now.
Right. I've been sort of saying that same thing for a couple of months now. They open up with West Virginia. I'm sorry, I don't see them winning that game. Then they play 2 high school teams. Yeah, they'll probably win those and be 2-1. But then their next 5 games, they're going to be underdogs in their next 5 games. Florida, Georgia, Auburn, Alabama, South Carolina. They're going to be underdogs in all 5 of those games. They have to play at Carolina, at Auburn, and at Georgia. They get Alabama and Florida at home. You can forget Alabama; they're not winning that one. Florida, maybe a toss-up. Say they win Florida, I still think they lose the next 4. Then they're sitting there at 3-4. Heading into the back end of their or 3-5, heading into the back end of their schedule. Now, if for some reason, like I said, they're sitting on 5 wins heading into this Vanderbilt
You listen
game,
what the general tell you now.
guys. If for some reason the wheels completely fall off and they're sitting at 3 or 4 wins, like you said, nothing to play for, I think that would be a better situation for Vanderbilt. Another thing I'm keeping my eye on is Jeremy Pruitt has always been around winners. I named the teams he's been at over the last 5 or 6 years: Alabama, Florida State, and Georgia. Everywhere he went, they were winning 10 games a year. He's not used to losing, and he's a hothead with an attitude problem and a temper. So I'm curious to see how he handles, being on a team that's sitting at possibly 2-6, maybe 3-5, something like that. But this is going to be one of those games at the end of the year that I think a lot of people are going to be watching because, like I said, you guys have dominated Tennessee over the last 6 years, winning 4 of those games, and you could very easily make it 5 or 7 this year.
Yep.
Now, go ahead.
I personally don't think Tennessee will win this game. I still think that their defense is a long way from being fixed. Even if they're on the brink of 6 wins, I don't think they have the defense to stop Shermer, and I don't think they have the offense to keep pace with Shermer. They have good skill positions, but they don't have a good QB, and they don't have a good defense. So that's just my personal opinion.
Right. Now, when I was searching for the Vanderbilt schedule earlier so that I could put up on the screen here, and this is the one I found. Why do they even put the SEC championship game on here?
I don't know.
I don't know either, but I had to throw that in. Come on. I appreciate the effort or whatever this is to try to put that up there, but yeah.
You never know. We might win it this year. Just outscore everybody, be a Pac-12 team, outscore everybody to win a game.
Are you trolling me?
Stop trolling me!
Okay, yeah, I kind of figured you were. All right, Jared, I appreciate you coming on. I'm going to let you go now so the trolls can call in and troll me. But I really appreciate you coming on, sir, and keep me in mind when it gets closer to the season. We'll try to do something like this again and figure out where you're at.
All right, thanks for letting me be on.
All right, Jared, I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
All right, yeah, that was Jared, a Vanderbilt fan there, which is good people. Most of you guys recognize his name from the comment section. He shows up on a lot of Uncle Lou live streams and talks football with you guys in the comment section. But let's open it up for phone calls now, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. I was going to talk about entrance song real quick. Georgia needs to get rid of Baba O'Reilly. That song, that dusty ass song Georgia plays, they need to get rid of that. I was going to talk some about that, but we're going to skip that and just get straight to the phone calls. How'd that be? Oh, that'd be just fine. I appreciate that. A good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Good morning, Uncle Lou.
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely wonderful.
And who is this? Think of a fake name. Hurry up.
Uncle Lou.
Who?
I'm a Tennessee fan, Uncle Lou.
That's great. What can I call you? You just want me to call you Voltard, or do you have a name?
No, I'm just kidding with you, Uncle Lou. I'm that guy that called you too on Monday. That Auburn guy.
See, this is why people need to have names, because I can't remember. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can just call me Jacob if you want.
Jacob. Okay, Jacob. Thanks for calling. And what's on your mind today, sir?
I'm kind of angry today.
Oh, perfect. What's got you upset, sir?
Auburn fan in general.
Oh, I hear you there, buddy. I hear you there. What have they done now?
I was going through a forum, right, and we're talking. It was a forum I frequent a lot, and they're talking about all the reasons that Auburn is going to win the national championship, and I'm kind of done with this BS about Jared Stidham winning the Heisman, and I've read that forum too. That's some stupid BS right there. And they were just talking about how Alabama sucks and Georgia and everything. I just got pissed off. I don't.
I'm with you 100%. Auburn fans think every quarterback they have is winning the Heisman. I mean, ever since they had Cam Newton, they have tried to convince us that their quarterback is winning the Heisman and they're going 15-0. I mean, the list of dud Auburn quarterbacks that Auburn fans have spent all offseason trying to pretend is the greatest thing ever is a mile long. John Franklin III. I mean, all these people that never amounted to anything. I was talking about this the other day myself. Gus Malzahn hasn't recruited a single quarterback that's amounted to anything. Not a single one. The good ones that Malzahn has had, Cam Newton came from transferred from Florida and then a junior college. Jared Stidbaloney, even if you want to pretend he's good, came transfer from Baylor. Nick Marshall, who took them to a national championship game but lost. Georgia kicked Nick Marshall off the team. Auburn scooped him up. When it comes to scouting and recruiting high school quarterbacks, Gus Malzahn is an absolute disaster. Their quarterback situation has been terrible. Auburn is not winning the national title this year. They're not even winning the West or the SEC. And the reason I know that is because you have to have at least 10 wins, in my opinion, to win the West. Auburn won 10 games last year, but Auburn hasn't won 10 games in back-to-back seasons since 1988. So that tells me they're not winning 10 games this year. They have to play Georgia and Alabama both on the road. Those are automatic losses. They'll lose at least one other game that they're not supposed to lose, which puts them at 9-3. And we all know Gus Malzahn can't win a bowl game, so it doesn't even matter what bowl game they go to. Gus Malzahn's won one bowl game in 5 years, and it was Birmingham Bowl. They're not winning 10 games. They're not winning the West. They're not winning the East. Stidbaloney's not winning the Heisman. Whatever one good running back they have is going to get hurt in November, and then they're not going to be able to get a first down against anybody they play, and it'll be the same old shit we've been hearing from Barner every year for the past 4 or 5 years.
Thank you. Finally, somebody with reason and rhyme.
Makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
I know it does, because I was sitting there listening to this bullshit from, fans about how, Jeremy Johnson, we're going to win the I'm like, did we not just go 7-6 last year? How's it going to be better this year?
Right. Dude,
so stupid.
Auburn will have a pretty good defense. I mean, Auburn's front seven is legit. They'll have a pretty good defense. They're replacing a lot on their offensive line. Their offensive line's not going to be nearly as good as it was last year. Their running backs, like I said, they might have one good running back. They might have one. But once that one running back goes down, because Gus Malzahn's going to run him into the ground like they do it. 2 years ago, it was Cam Petaway. They ran Cam Petaway into the ground. He gets hurt. Then they play Georgia. They can't even get a friggin' first down against Georgia. They blame it on a running back injury. This year, Kerryon Johnson, Kerryon Luggage, whatever his name is, he gets hurt. They blame that on why they lost to Georgia. They blame UCF on not caring, whatever it is. Point is, blame. Auburn is the new, it's not even Auburn University. It's If University. It's the If University War Eagle Tigers. If our running back wouldn't have got hurt, if we didn't have to play Alabama every year, right? If we could recruit a decent quarterback out of high school, if Gus Malzahn knew what the hell he was doing, if we were a decent football program, if we would have fired Jay Jacobs, our athletic director, a year earlier than we did, if Gus Malzahn would let the offensive coordinator call the plays and keep his nose out of it, if we could do this, if we could do that, if an Auburn fan didn't get pissed off and burn down their own toilet paper tree. It's just if. The bottom line is they're just never going to amount to anything, not in the foreseeable future, period.
I mean, with Georgia, what's your opinion on Georgia supposedly going to have a down year next year?
First off, if Georgia has a down year, you know what? That's like 9-3, 8-4. That's a down year. Okay, Tennessee, 0-8 in the SEC, 4-8. That's their down year. Florida, 4-7 last year. That's their down year. So if Georgia has 9-3 and 10-2 and don't win the East would be a down year for UGA. I don't think that's going to happen. I do think Georgia's defense may take a step back. We were top 5 in almost every statistical category on planet Earth last year in defense. Okay, maybe this year we're only top 10. But I think our offense is going to be better than it was last year. I know we lost Chubb and Michelle, and we're not going to replace those two running backs in terms of pure talent, but our offensive line is going to be twice as good as it was last year. And let's just be real, the University of Georgia is not hurting for quality running backs. So the offense, and Jake Fromm in his second year, so he's only going to get better. So Georgia's offense is going to be better than it was last year, even if the defense takes a step back. I don't see any way possible Georgia doesn't win the East. If Georgia doesn't win the East, it's a disappointment.
Well, if they don't win the East, I think South Carolina is the only team that would. That's not the point.
They're my pick to win the
another
East.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead, and then I'm gonna let you go.
Oh.
Go ahead, one more.
Okay, that works. And then there was a question about if we do lose one game, who you think is going to beat to? And I was like, you're probably going to lose 3. You have Washington. If we lose that, then we're already going to start to have a bad start. So I do agree with you. I think we might be 9-3, maybe 10-3 if we win our bowl game.
Auburn, you're talking about?
But do you think Auburn? Yeah.
Yeah. I think Auburn can beat Washington. I mean, I know Washington's a pretty good team, but this is a huge. Auburn's used to playing good teams. Washington's not used to playing teams as good as Auburn. I can guarantee you that. Auburn would go undefeated in the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is a train wreck. Okay, it's a toilet tissue. It's a toilet tissue conference. When your conference hero is Josh Rosen, that tells you everything you need to know. The Pac-12 is absolute garbage. Washington is the cream of the Pac-12, but that's not telling me much. Okay, they scored 7 points against Alabama with the best team they've had in forever and a day. Okay, lost 34-7. It's just like when Oregon. It's just like that 4 or 5 year stretch that Oregon had, right? They were scoring 60, 70 points a game against these Pac-12 teams, playing with them, going for 2-point conversions in the first quarter for no reason. They were playing video game football against these garbage Pac-12 teams. And what happened every time Oregon had to play an SEC team? They lost, and they barely scored 20 points every single time. So Washington's got a good quarterback. Washington's got a good running back. They've never seen anything like what they'll see when they play Auburn's defense. Because that doesn't exist in the Pac-12. It just doesn't. Auburn should be able to beat Washington. So that's my thoughts and opinions on that. I don't see any way Auburn wins at Georgia and at Alabama. And if history tells us anything about Gus Malzahn, it's that he's going to lose one game he's not supposed to lose. So if he beats Washington, I think he can finish 9-3. If he loses to Washington, I think he finishes 8-4.
Okay, thanks, Uncle. I'm gonna let you guys get some other callers.
Okay, I appreciate the call, Jacob. And you seem like good people. Phone line's back open, 706-510-6 More phone calls? More phone calls? Yeah, so call Uncle Lou and let me know how you feel. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Good morning, Uncle Lou. It's your five-star caller Ryan from the comment section, man.
Oh man, I got something for you. Hold on 1 second. Let me play this just real quick because I worked on this today just for you. I don't know if you're not watching right now, go back and watch this once this video gets uploaded. But
I'm on the call log thing. Like, it doesn't let me watch your videos or whatever. It'll be
right.
like super delayed.
Okay, well make sure you go back and watch what I'm about to do right now.
5-star caller.
I will, buddy.
All right, Ryan S., the Uncle Lou Show's first official 5-star caller. What's on your mind today, sir?
Man, hey, you know we gotta talk about what happened last night with that game, man.
Let's do it.
With that missed field goal. Man, all right, as soon as you missed that field goal, man, you got up and walked off or whatever. I was dying laughing. Me and my girlfriend were laying in bed watching, your stream and all that. And she's like, man, this game's really coming down to the wire. I'm like, yeah, it is. And I'm not even a Georgia fan. Keep in mind, I'm an Alabama fan.
Yeah.
But I was getting so nervous. I'm not even a Georgia fan. I was getting so nervous. You missed that field goal. You got up. I'm dying laughing. But at the same time, it's like, it almost pissed me off that I'm not even a Georgia fan. You know what I did? I got up out of bed. She's like, where are you going? I'm like, man, I'm going to make me a drink. It's like 12 o'clock in the morning because you're an hour ahead of me. It's 12 in the morning. I made me a damn drink. I got so mad at that game.
Yeah.
I wasn't even playing that game.
You know what made me mad? Losing doesn't make me mad on that game. I mean, I'm 5-3 in the current season. You guys know I'm not very good at it. If y'all don't know what he's talking about, I stream NCAA college football on the Xbox every Tuesday and Thursday night at 10. Y'all can check that out too. But I was losing to Florida 20-3 in the fourth quarter. I put Justin Fields in the game, took Jake Fromm out. I come back from a 20-3. I was behind 20-3. I come all the way back. It's 20-17. I get the ball back with a minute to go. I drive all the way down to like the 20-yard line. I go to kick a last-second field goal, and I doinked it off the upright, missed it, and time expired. And, yeah, I didn't rage quit because that was the end of the game, but I did get up and just walk away for a few minutes so I didn't make a fool of myself on camera. So, yeah, that's what he's talking about. But that's what made me mad, that I came all the way back like that and then missed an extra point, basically. And Hot Rod, Rodrigo Blankenship, is like a god to me. I worship this man. And I made him look bad by not being able to make a simple field goal in that college football game.
Hey, I'm an Alabama fan. I know good and dang well we need a kicker, and I would take Hot Rod any day of the week.
Yeah, y'all do need a kicker, man. Did y'all sign one this year, like even a walk-on or anything? What's the story for this year with y'all's field goal kicker?
We still have not found a daggum kicker. To me, all right, man, the way I look at Papanastis, the Alabama's kicker, I look at him as, the trash can. He's equivalent to Tennessee's trash can they use. He's trash. He's actually a little backstory on Papanastis. He's actually from Montgomery, Alabama, where I'm from. He went to Trinity High School, which is down the street from here. And I heard nothing but good things about him. And as soon as he went to Alabama, I'm thinking, okay, cool. He went to a D1 college. Nothing special.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, Lou.
If Alabama would have ended up losing that national title game, you guys would have signed a kicker this year. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure how old you are, but you know Bobby Bowden, right, from Florida State, head coach.
Yeah.
He lost a couple of national championships in a row because he couldn't make a field goal. And up to that point, he had never signed a scholarship kicker. And that is what made him go out and sign Sebastian Janikowski, which was one of the greatest kickers in the history of college football. The guy was he was money from 60 yards and ended up getting drafted in a long NFL career by the Oakland Raiders. But Bobby Bowden forever wouldn't sign a scholarship kicker, and he ended up losing to Miami 2 or 3 years in a row because of a missed field goal. And that's what made him go out and finally sign that Sebastian Janikowski. And that really is what started the trend of big-time college football programs signing elite kickers and giving them scholarships. But it's going to end up biting Alabama in the butt at some point. You can't have a kicker that's that unreliable when the game is on the line.
We need a kicker.
Yeah.
We absolutely need a kicker. But talk about that game last night, man. That was all.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, Ryan. Thanks for the call, and be sure to watch the video back once it uploads, because I did something special for you for when you called in today.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
All right, buddy.
Man. I'll check it out.
All right. Oh yeah, 5-star caller Ryan S. All right, phone lines are
More phone calls?
Phone lines are back open, 706-510-6817. We still got time for a few more phone calls. So if you've been trying to get through, now would be a good time to try. Yeah, I did get a little bit heated when I lost that game last night against Florida. Like I said, not because I lost, but because I did such a great job. I came back 20-3 down in like 3.5 minutes and just completely blew it at the end, and it did irritate me a little. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou. Good morning. Good morning. Jacksonville, Florida. You're on with Uncle Lou. Huh?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, well, oh yeah, we hear you. We hear you now. Go ahead.
For Dalton, the Florida fan.
What's up, Dalton? What's on your mind today?
Just real quick, I'll send you an email if you want to have me on the show next week or whatever.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I've been looking for a Florida fan to come on. So yeah, I will sometime this evening. I will get back to you on that email, and then we do this show every Monday and Wednesday. So sometime in the next day or two, we'll get together through email and we'll work something out. That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be great. For right now, I just want to get your opinion on the top 3 SEC teams based off the running back position.
Running back position. I'm going to put UGA in the list of top 3. I know we lost Chubb and Michelle, but we signed the number 1 and the number 3 running back in America in the 2018 class. DeAndre Swift is on everybody's Heisman watch list, even though I don't think he'll win the Heisman. He's in everybody's top 10 preseason Heisman list. I would probably throw Alabama in there just because it seems like they've always got a couple of bruising running backs, and they always have an NFL offensive line. Third is kind of hard. I'm not sure what Auburn's going to look like after losing their running back and replacing some pieces on the offensive line. I like Jordan Scarlett. I think he's a good running back, but we got to see how Dan Mullen's going to use him. We got to see what kind of offensive line Florida's going to have, and I wouldn't really know who was after Jordan Scarlett. The teams on the top of this list are going to have more than one really good running back, and I'm not sure Florida has that right now. But maybe you can educate me though. Who is it that's going to? I'm assuming Jordan Scarlett's going to be the starter.
Leading running back last season was Malik Davis. He didn't have he wasn't a 1,000-yard rusher, but he averaged about close to 7 yards per carry. But last season, McElwain just didn't give him the ball like he should have. He didn't really play against Michigan that much. It took a while to figure out, who the best running back was, and it was him. He did get an injury against you guys, though, an ACL injury, unfortunately. But he's been spotted at practice, so hopefully he'll be okay. But he's probably our best running back. It's between him and Jordan Scarlett. Jordan Scarlett's more of a in-between the tackles guy. And Malik Davis is more of a down-the-hill, get-outside speed runner. We also recruited Damian Pierce, which was a highly recruited 4-star.
Yeah, I like him.
Another 4-star, and I think it was, I forget his name, but we have 2 4-stars in this class. And, so that's 4 really good running backs right there. I'm not sure about any other school. I think Kentucky has some good running backs. I know Bama and Georgia always are stacked at running back, but my top 3 would probably be Georgia, Bama, and Florida.
Yeah, I think Florida has potential to put themselves in that top 3 conversation in terms of SEC running back talent. I mean, there's certain teams you can just cross right off the list, right? Vanderbilt's not replacing Ralph Webb, so they're not going to have a top 3 rushing attack. Tennessee doesn't have any talent on their team, so they're not a top 3 rushing attack. Missouri's going to throw the ball 50 times a game with Drew Lock, so they're not in the top 3. Jimbo Fisher is a clown and an average head coach at best, and Texas A&M doesn't have – I can't remember the last time Texas A&M had a decent running back. Take them off the list. Chad Morris is going to throw the ball around at Arkansas, I think. Take them off the list. Mississippi State, their best running back plays quarterback, Nick Fitzgerald. Take them off the list. Ole Miss, no one even cares about them anymore. Take them off the list. So who's really left? South Carolina, Florida, Auburn, Georgia, and Alabama. I mean, it's gonna be 3 of those 5 teams that are gonna have the best running game in the SEC, in my opinion.
Yeah, my bad. And I found the 4th running back I was trying to remember is Iverson Clement.
Okay.
He was the number 12 athlete in 2018, and he was a 4-star as well. So.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, if you can get your offensive line situation straightened out and Dan Mullen decides he's willing to run the ball, and I have a feeling if Florida's going to be successful this year, it's going to need to be on the ground. I know Dan Mullen is sort of a quarterback genius or whatever. I don't think Franks is any good. Trask has no experience. I know he's big, tall, and strong, and Emory Jones is a true freshman who likes to run around. So I think best case scenario, I think, for Florida this year is to find some running backs that can move the ball on the ground. So who knows? Maybe Florida does end up having a top 3 rushing attack this year in the SEC. It's definitely possible.
Yeah, and also keep that name in mind, Kyle Trask. He's a dark horse to win the Florida job because I agree with you. Franks is trash, and he doesn't really fit in on his system anyway. So if you're going to put somebody in there that's not that great, you might as well fit the system. Yeah, because even the scrimmage they had, he did so much better than Franks did. So, and Dan Law did say it's an open job, so we'll see.
Yeah, Franks was absolutely terrible in that scrimmage. Something like 3 of 17 or something with 3 interceptions. I mean, just absolutely awful. I've actually had a couple of Florida fans.
I think Trask was like 12 of 18 for 3 touchdowns and 1 pick. So
Yeah, and I've had a few Florida fans tell me over the last week that they're sort of leaning towards Trask too as the starting quarterback. I mean, obviously, everyone is sort of just waiting on Emory Jones to get ready down there. He's the type of running back that Dan Mullen likes, right? An athletic guy, can run the ball around, reminds you a lot of Nick Fitzgerald, Tim Tebow, that kind of. I'm not comparing him to those 2 guys in terms of total talent or anything. I'm just saying it's no secret that Dan Mullen wants a quarterback that can run around, and that's what you get with Emory Jones. Of course, there's a ton of risk involved with starting a freshman quarterback. And even though a quarterback can run around, he's still got to be able to throw the ball. So maybe we're a year away from that on Emory Jones, and Trask is the guy that we see come in and sort of be that placeholder spot for a year while Emory Jones develops.
Yeah, if I had to make a prediction now, I'd say Trask starts day 1, and Emory is sprinkled in there at some point.
Yeah. All right, well, I'll get with you on email over the next couple of days, and we'll iron something out for next week, and I'd love to have you on.
All right, thank you, Bill.
All right, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Yeah, be great if we can get him on at the beginning of a show and run through the schedule with him and figure out what Florida's looking like for next year. 706-510-6817 if you want to be on the show. Don't forget, today is the last day. If you want to get in on the T-shirt drawing, every dollar you enter gets you an entry into the raffle, which is going to be tomorrow night, Thursday night at 10 o'clock live here on LouTube. 10 o'clock Eastern, we'll give the shirt away. Every dollar you donate gets you an entry into that drawing. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Good morning. How you doing, Lou?
Oh, I'm doing great. Who's this?
This is General Valtard. I called just a couple nights ago.
General Valtar, good morning.
You listen what the general tell you now.
I was a little bit of SEC football with you.
Let's do it.
All right, so you've been saying, like, Florida is not going to be that bad next year because they're too talented, right?
Who? Florida?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would bet my house that Florida wins more than 4 games next year.
All right.
Or my grandma's house, or whoever's house this is. I don't know whose it is. I don't know if this is my grandma's basement I'm in this week or if it's my mom's garage, but whoever's house this is, I would bet it that Florida wins more than 4 games.
All right. I just want to get your thoughts on how good record-wise do you think Florida's going to be based on the talent and based on the Florida man Dan Mullet?
Right. I don't think they're beating Georgia. I don't think they're beating South Carolina.
You can go ahead and cross Georgia off that list without a doubt. I will bet my house that they won't beat Georgia.
He's a Florida man, Lou.
I got the schedule pulled up. Charleston Southern, that's a win. Kentucky, I'm never picking Kentucky to beat Florida. After last year, I'm sorry. I'm never beating Kentucky to beat Florida ever again after what I saw last season. So that's 2 wins. Week 3, Colorado State. That's 3 wins. So in my opinion, barring a sprinkle storm that causes Florida to cancel a game for no reason, they're starting 3-0. So they're almost to 4 wins 3 weeks into the season, okay? Now, at Tennessee, I think Florida is a better team than Tennessee, and I think Dan Mullen is better than Coach Pruitt. And they say, well, how do you know that? Pruitt's never been a head coach. Well, that is how I know that.
Yeah.
At least you know what you're getting with. At least you know what you're getting with Dan Mullen. I don't think he's an elite coach, but I do know that even elite coaches aren't elite the first year they're ever a head coach. I mean, good morning, Nick Saban didn't make a national title game until his 9th year as a head coach. Okay, it's not easy to transition from a coordinator or an assistant or whatever to college head coach. It's just not. There's going to be some bumps in the road. If Florida loses to Tennessee week 4, that's a very bad sign for Florida football. But that looks like a win right now, and that puts them at 4-0. Now, at Mississippi State is the next game. I don't think they win that game. I think Mississippi State is a better, more talented team than Florida. Now, Florida fans have been arguing with me about that for a month now, but that's just the reality of the situation. Florida won 4 games last year. Mississippi State won a lot more than 4. Nick Fitzgerald is better than anybody Florida has, period.
If I may add in, too.
Yeah, what?
If I may add in, too, I actually know a couple of Mississippi State fans.
Yeah.
They're saying, like, they will be looking for a little bit of revenge for taking their head coach.
Oh, no doubt. You better believe Mississippi State has this game scheduled. You better believe. It's very unusual for a coach to transfer jobs within the same conference. That just doesn't happen all that often. Even Nick Saban, LSU to Bama, there was an NFL failure in between, right? He leaves LSU, Saban goes to the NFL, lays a complete and total egg, and then comes back to Bama. And even that created tension between Alabama and LSU. Mullet has gone straight from Mississippi State to Florida, and now they play the very next year. You better believe Mississippi State's got this game circled. And Nick Fitzgerald is a better quarterback than anybody's Florida's got. I don't think it's too much cowbell. I think Mississippi State wins that game. So that's a loss, I think. But still, that puts them at 4-1. LSU, that's a toss-up game in my opinion. It helps that Florida gets it at home. I'll give Florida the credit there. It helps they get it at home, but at best that's a toss-up game right there. I do think Dan Mullet is a better coach than Ed Orgeron, but I do think LSU is a more talented team than Florida. So you got some issues favoring either team there.
Funnier coach.
Huh?
Yeah, Ed's the funnier coach.
Yeah, so that's a toss-up. Even if they lose it, though, 4-2 at Vandy, got to assume they win that game. 5 wins. Versus Georgia, that's a loss. Missouri, I think Missouri's a toss-up. I think Missouri could beat them. Again, Florida gets them at home here. But Missouri's going to be a dangerous team. They beat Florida by about 30 points last year. Drew Lock has the ability when he gets hot to light up any defense, period.
I think for Florida and Mississippi, Missouri, I got the 2 mixed up there. I think that one will depend on the battle between Missouri's offense, almost did it again, and Florida's defense. Because, as you said, Missouri does have the offense to line up a team. As you said, they torched Georgia last year.
Yeah.
But Florida's got too much talent defensively to just completely overlook.
Right.
So,
and
I honestly think that's where the key battle will be.
Yeah. South Carolina, I think, is a toss-up. Idaho, they'll beat. And Florida State, I think, is a toss-up. I don't like the coach they hired, but Florida State is another team that has way more talent than the amount of wins you saw them put up last year. So I'm in a wait-and-see pattern with Florida State. And, you know, Florida State has owned Florida recently. So we'll see. But even if you give them a loss there and a loss at South Carolina, that still puts them at like 7 wins. So, you know, I would assume Florida doubles their win total from last year and goes 8-4, maybe even 9-3. Although I think Florida's quarterback situation is probably going to cost them a close game or two. But so I mean, I could see 7, 8, 9 wins here for Florida.
Yeah, Sam. Like, they're definitely not going to have a losing record this year.
No.
But unless they fix that quarterback situation, if they want to get past Georgia and get back to the SEC championship, they're going to need to work on that quarterback situation before they can think about that.
Yeah, I can promise you right now that with the offense Georgia has set up for the next 4 years, so that runs through Fromm and Fields and Zamir White's eligibility, and we've got the 2 number 1 wide receivers in America already committed for 2019. With the offense Georgia is going to have for the next 4 to 5 years, you're not winning the East at 23 points a game, and that's what Florida's been averaging for the last several years. That's not going to get it done. Now, they won the East 2 years in a row averaging 23 points a game, but they had an NFL defense, and every other, you know, Georgia wasn't what it is now. You're not winning if you're going to win the East, if you're beating Georgia to win the East, you're going to have to be scoring 35 to 40 points a game, period.
Plus, not to mention the years they went to the SEC championship, they got completely walloped by Bama both years.
Yeah, 2 years in a row they played Bama. They had a total of 0 rushing yards in those 2 games. So they even when they were winning the East, they weren't even close to being an elite team.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the difference though between how good Georgia is and I guess like the slight bit of hope that Florida fans can talk about, because like Georgia, they may have lost to Bama in the national championship, but we proved that we can go toe to toe with them.
Never made it as a wise man.
Not stand a chance.
Right, they got absolutely run over. They couldn't run the ball, couldn't stop Alabama's offense, no matter who they had at quarterback. I mean, listen, if you're playing Alabama and Jalen Hurts is lighting you up, you're not a very good defense.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks for the call. I gotta let you go. I gotta try to get 1 or 2 more calls in here before I end it. But I really appreciate the call. Thank you. Yeah, call quick if you want to be on. I'll stay on and take another 1 or 2 calls maybe if they're quick enough and interesting enough too. 706-510-6817. If you want to go ahead and be on the Uncle Lou show, phone lines are open now. I've said no one hates Florida as much as I. You got me stuttering. I'm so damn mad talking about Florida. But I keep saying, yeah, I hate Florida. Listen, they're not a 4-win team, okay? What happened last year was an anomaly. Was a glitch in the matrix, too. The coaching debacle, you know, you get caught humping a shark in the offseason. 11 of your players get suspended for stolen credit cards. You get pretend or real, I don't know, death threats that you don't want to pursue or whatever. It becomes obvious you don't want to be coaching there. I mean, there was a lot of things that happened last year that led to Florida winning 8 teams. But talent-wise, I mean, they don't have the talent to win the SEC, but they have way more talent to be winning 4 games a year. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou. I'm not sure if y'all could hear that. It sounded like he just clapped 3 or 4 times and then hung up. Another one of those situations where somebody waited 48 hours, planned that out just to do that. A little bit disappointing. I should end the show now because that call was just pathetic and sad. I need a one-star caller stinger to throw up on the screen. Got the 5-star caller stinger I throw up there. I need a 1-star caller for when people call in and breathe heavy for 3 seconds and then hang up, or clap 3 times and then hang up, or whatever. But if you want to be on the show, you better do it quick because I will end the show. 706-510-6817. Haven't heard from the Ultimate Troll today. Not sure if dead or didn't pay his, or maybe he's out of prepaid minutes. I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, I want to thank everybody that watched today live here on the Uncle Lou Show. Again, we do this every Monday and Wednesday at 3 o'clock Eastern. Every Monday and Wednesday at 3 o'clock Eastern.
Stop trolling me!
We have a different live show that we do Tuesdays and Thursday nights at 10. It's totally different from this one. Make sure you check that one out if you haven't already. Subscribe to Uncle Lou if you're not. In addition to these live shows, I post a bunch of pointless, barely watchable, barely understandable even, videos all throughout the week. So make sure you subscribe to Uncle Lou. Hit the little bell icon too on YouTube so you get your notification every time Uncle Lou goes live or every time Uncle Lou posts a video. Thanks to everybody that watched, whether you're watching live or you're watching this on the replay later on YouTube. Thanks to everybody that watched. Thanks to everybody in the comment section. Thanks to all the callers, especially Jared, our guest at the beginning of the show, walked us through Vanderbilt's 2018 season. Thank you to Ryan, the show's only official 5-star caller. For those who don't know, we will be designating one official 5-star caller per month. Ryan was the 5-star caller. He won for the month of March. So keep listening to the Uncle Lou Live Show every Monday and Wednesday during the month of April. When the month is just about over, maybe the last week of April, we'll put a poll up with the people that have called in, and we'll let the people vote. And whoever gets the most, whichever caller gets the most votes will become the second official Uncle Lou 5-star caller. And then you too can get your very own graphic on the Uncle Lou Show.
5-star caller.
See, don't you want your name there where it says Ryan S? Don't you want it to say Dalton or Jacob or the Ultimate Troll or I'm drawing a blank, but any of the other people that call in, don't you want your name up in lights live on the Uncle Lou Show with a little bit of effort and some time too? You too can become an official 5-star caller just like Ryan S. It's really not that hard, I promise. I don't think we've done this yet today, so before we end the show, let's take a look live into the Uncle Lou comment section right now.
Type.
Amazing. It never ends and it never stops. That's it. Thanks for watching. Today is what, Wednesday? So we won't be back here until Monday, 3 o'clock Eastern. But I will see you guys live tomorrow night at 10 o'clock Eastern. Don't forget, we're giving the t-shirt away tomorrow night at 10. So if you've donated to the Uncle Lou Show over the last few weeks or whatever, how long it's been since we've been running this raffle, don't forget to tune in tomorrow night at 10 o'clock Eastern. We will draw a name and give away this t-shirt. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Good morning.